We have Taipei Snipers going up against the Singapore Sentinels, and we are already at the champion select screen where we have Taipei Snipers in the blue team and SGS on the purple side.
Yeah, and we might want to point out the lag that was actually happening earlier
Yeah.
was because we were playing on the Southeast Asian server, and hence, because we don't want such a thing to happen again, the GPL is now, for this match, and maybe the next match, it's going to be played on the Taiwan tournament realm.
That's right. So, you know, what this means is that we do have this, you know, when you're on the tournament round, we are going to push back a few patches. So this match is going to be played on the 3.11 patch.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're not in 3.13.
It's the same patch. Okay, if you guys are wondering which is the 3.11 patch, it's the same patch as they were playing during the World Championship.
Yeah, that's right. So that is the Trinity Force buff patch.
Yes.
Yeah, so
expect a Corki. Actually, no, I don't think we might see the Trinity Force carries on these two teams because they traditionally do not play the Trinity Force carries.
Right.
Both the AD carries do not traditionally play the Trinity Force carries.
They do have the capabilities to, you know, bring these champions onto the table, but it's more like they prefer not to, and they kind of want to go with something more comfortable in that sense.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised to actually see the Jarvan pick up. So I don't know whether they're actually going to pick up that Zac, and that Annie definitely a favorite of Kailing. I mean, he busted it out very early on in the original season of the GPL, the very first season of the GPL, bringing out the support Annie, and now it's kind of made the renaissance, it's the renaissance of the support Annie once again. And while as I say that they may not pick the Trinity Force carry, I'm forced to eat my words here because it seems that the Taipei Snipers have decided to pick up the Corki.
That's right, and they're kind of on their comfort picks as well. Like, you know, we're looking through it, and currently they are quite comfortable in playing these champions. Zonda in the top lane, kind of, in a sense, both teams are quite similar. Their
top laners and jungle
yeah,
kind of share the same champion pool as we were talking about it earlier.
And
so
not only that, they kind of have the same play style as well. You know, traditionally these two teams, they like to have tanky top laners, someone to front line, someone to, you know, bring the engage on. And for their junglers, they like to play aggressive, go for early game ganks. Not, you know, different junglers have different style, but these two, Oriel and Hallelujah, definitely, you know, just mirroring each other in that sense. But, you know, one is in the Taiwan side, the other is on the Singapore side, and just that different. They kind of have different pulls for the other players, and now it does look like it's gonna be God JJ playing Corki. And looking at the lock-ins right now, we do have Choi locking in Graves.
Yeah, and well, Zed is not banned out, Oriana is not banned out, so the two super duper popular carries of the World Championships may just both go to the hands of the Azubu Taipei Snipers.
Right, not too sure if this is going to be the case. Who is going to be the support?
Okay, how's this? Elise support, Zed jungle, Oriana mid lane, Renekton top.
Well, it's definitely viable, but it does look like we do see a different
Morgana support.
Yeah, Morgana support. We haven't seen Morgana in the longest of times.
Neither, we have not seen her sister either.
Yeah, we haven't seen
Kale.
Kale as well.
Nope.
Yep, and this is quite interesting composition coming in for the snipers here tonight, and I like what they are pulling out with that Morgana pick.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if SGS actually picks up and insta-locks at Ahri, because the Ahri-Vi combination has seen a ton of popularity, especially in Worlds.
That's right. So, and you know, this is the pre-Ahri changes as well, so we are going to be playing it on the 3.11 where
like, Ahri can just go in, Death Firecrest, and just burst a champion down. Whoa!
We have a Syndra being
I'm forced to eat my words so many times today. I'm very embarrassed now.
Well, it happens.
Yes, it happens.
As
no
with
matter
all
how much
technical
research
difficulties,
I do.
Yeah, you know, it always happens. And it looks like it's going to be Cryonics playing Syndra. Come on, man. Don't have to be so tense. And Cryonics playing that Syndra, and I kind of have to thank him for it. I have said it once, I will say it again. Syndra is kind of like my favorite champion in the mid lane. You know, you have this Dark Spheres, you know, and having all that control with the sphere. If you know how to manipulate your spheres around and, you know, dare to make some ballsy moves, definitely you will be rewarded.
And I really like the Morgana pickup coming in for the Azubu Taipei snipers. This will actually prevent any sort of CC coming in from the Black Shield, preventing the stun from Annie, preventing the knockback from Vi. So that's a really good pickup on the side of the Azubu Taipei snipers. So let's just kind of run down the picks as well as the team compositions. And actually, if you guys didn't notice, the Azubu Taipei snipers have decided to ban out the infamous Chowie on his Teemo, because they have been picking that Teemo time and time again. In the recent, what was it, the Dell Invitationals that was held over the weekend,
Dell Invitational
I think,
Cup 5.
SGS picked Teemo every single time it wasn't banned.
I think there was a couple of matches where they didn't really pick Teemo. Charlie decided to go with Vayne instead. But
yeah, but from what I understand, it was because the opposing team banned out Teemo.
Well, then, I mean, it kind of goes back to what we always say. If it works, if it's not broken, why change it? Yep.
Yeah, and let's actually take a look into the game now. So we have a slight lag, even though I said that. You pause it. Okay.
Yeah, we want to ensure everything is fair.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yep.
That's the thing about the tournament servers.
That's right.
That there's no 3-minute delay in the tournament server. So, like I said, let's just take a look at the team compositions coming in for the. Wait a minute. What's going on right now? It seems that we've decided to unpause the match and actually take a look at it in real time. We have the entire of SGS actually moving in for a red invade here, and we have Kailing already charged up his stun. So let's just see how forceful they actually go in, and they may just catch out Oreo because Oreo is here and the flash stun coming in. It looks like they will definitely pick up first blood. Syndra being the one to pick it up. Cryonics happy to pick up that first kill, and it seems that they are just going to force their way and maybe even pick up and take that counter jungle.
Right, we just went back into time into that
Wow, that was a little bit anticlimactic there.
Right,
so let me predict something.
Yes.
They are going to go and catch out Oreo in the jungle at their red buff with Kailing coming in for the flash stun on Annie and giving Cryonics the first blood.
What makes you so confident it's going to happen?
I could see the future right there.
Are you the Oracle of League of Legends?
I'm the Seer. I'm the next champion coming in.
Yeah.
Jeez. So anticlimactic.
Wolf the Seer.
No.
Okay.
No.
So we will rewatch.
The far Seer. Some may say.
Okay, so we are going to rewatch that action once again.
And the play-by-play caster will actually do it this time.
Yeah, so why not, right? And the reason of why this is happening is
but look at why did Oreo react so slowly?
I have no idea. Probably panicked and didn't know what to do. But yep, this is the first blood going to Cryonics, like what we saw earlier. And apologies to the viewers, having to go back in time because we are currently playing on the tournament server and we do not want to give any unfair, edge over to any of the teams if we gotta go into real time.
Yeah. And I just want to point out something. The summoner spells used on the side of SGS actually isn't some of the best communication coming in from the team. They burned 2 ignites and the exhaust. I think that was a bit overkill there.
Well, if you manage to pick up the first blood, always worth.
Really?
Yeah, always worth. Always worth. But
okay.
You just have to, in a sense, make sure that when you go back into lane, you don't play over aggressively just because your lane opponents are gonna have that summoner spell advantage. But
even if you're Syndra with 2 Doran rings at the start of the game,
always worth. Yep. Just because of the fact that it's so vital. Your first 10 minutes kind of determine a huge part in the game. If you can have any form of advantage right from the start, it just helps you build up later into the game. And this is what we call typically as the snowball effect, as many teams have kind of worked with and worked around with as well. And right now we do have a 1-1-2 formation, and this is kind of something that is quite comfortable for most teams, but I know for a fact that Taipei Snipers, they are the masters of that 1-2-1, so it's a bit of a pity that they didn't really pull it out in this match.
Yeah, I think they are confident putting next ABC in the mid lane facing Cryonics because Zed is a pretty decent matchup, especially in this patch because the travel time of the Death Mark Zed's ultimate itself is very, very strong and is able to juke out any of Cryonix's Dark Spears.
Right, but we do see Cryonic putting a ton of hurt onto next ABC already. He's already at half health, and I think that's the primary concern when you have Zed in the mid lane, because technically your traits won't be as strong when you go up against a ranged mage such as Syndra.
And not forgetting Syndra can actually use the Dark Spears to zone as well as even use it for the slow as well as the stun. So that's a a very strong combo right there, and the burst combo itself is going to be very potent.
That's right. The balls of zoning.
The balls.
The spheres. The
balls are in Syndra's court right now.
Okay.
Cryonix has full control of the lane.
Right.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, and we do have actually Oriel rotating into the jungle of
trying to find some counter jungling, but the jungle's pretty empty and it's gonna be a very sad spider.
And right now we do have Choi going back and forth against God JJ. And what do you think? Some people say that Graves is one of the effective counters to Corki, but what do you think about that?
I don't know. He doesn't have a barrier to actually offset that burst damage, and Corki
Choi
coming
actually
in,
taking a dark binding to the face, and God JJ following that up with some good damage with the Phosphorus Bomb and auto attack as well. And now SGS Hallelujah looking for some revenge, and this is the Dark Shield effect that we were talking about earlier, and God JJ putting a lot of hurt onto Hallelujah there, just repelling all this aggression.
That's right. It was a great Black Shield into the Dark Binding, allowing God JJ and Mystic to actually punish that gang coming in from Hallelujah. So overall, great play coming in for the Azubu Taipei Snipers, and we actually have Oriel in the top lane taking out one of the big golems, actually his recall being interrupted by the tiny golem there. So let's just see how it kind of moves on from this stage.
Right, and we do see Mystic. He wants to go in for this side brush control, and it's quite vital for a Morgana player to have that side brush control as well as you're playing support, because as you can see, the Dark Binding kind of moves quite slowly, and just because of its slow missile speed, you want to be in a position where the opponents can't see it coming. So good job on the side of Kailing, just warding it up, making sure that they have full control of the side brushes so that they can anticipate when the Dark Binding is coming.
Yeah. And the Zac pickup against the Renekton is something we have not seen in a long time. Zac has kind of, the popularity of Zac has decreased ever since the so-called nerfs to Zac's ability. And let's just see how Ben W plays this tanky AP champion in the top lane up against
but you have to remember, we are on 3.11 patch, so the blobs are not in a position where it's as contested as it is in the current patch that we are playing on. So they are actually, we see some action going into the mid lane. Oriel now jumping onto Cryonics. It does look like next ABC will secure that kill for himself, and Snipers bring it back 1-1. And with a 300 goal difference, it's gonna be quite early to tell which team actually has the advantage in this one.
Yeah, I think Syndra was slightly, Cryonics was actually slightly out of position in the mid lane, allowing for that gang coming in. Oriel actually turns his spider form, repels, gets the snare, and allowing next ABC to pick up that easy kill in the mid lane.
And you have to remember, Oriel, for the viewers who aren't too sure of Oriel's playstyle, he is extremely proficient on Elise as well as Lee Sin, and in recent times Aatrox as well. So having all these early game junglers just gonna make good impact onto any of his opposing team.
Yeah, and Elise is able to... Elise is a pretty effective counter jungler, if I may say so, because using the repel you can actually get out of sticky situations or even hop across walls trying to get into camps faster.
Right, now we do see Choi taking a good amount of damage from this bottom lane duel of the Snipers. It does look like the Morgana pick is somewhat rare, but working out for them.
Yeah, like I said, the Morgana pick is actually able to deny that Vault Breaker knockback, maybe even some stun coming in from Annie. So that pick in it of itself is actually a very good pick coming in for the Azubu Taipei Snipers.
Right, and you have to also remember, once she hits level 6, her ultimate will be able to lock down. If she is in the right position, just lock down anyone. And we do see Oriel meeting Hallelujah in the jungle, but not gonna be going in for any aggressive action yet.
Yeah, and it seems that Oreo has himself positioned to actually take away the blue buff using the smite to actually secure it, preventing Cryonics from taking the blue buff for himself. And this is going to deter his laning presence because the amount of mana he has to use for the Dark Spears as well as his spells is going to be... he really has to take note of his mana resource right there.
Right, so overall, a good call and a good decision to take that blue buff away from Cryonics. And we do see Zonda slowly rotating, and it does look like Snipers are just playing on this aggressive that that they're going for, but Hallelujah countering on that, and now Zonda has to use the Dominus to fend off the entire lines of the Singapore Sentinels there. So overall, the red buff went back to Hallelujah, but at the same time they do burn some resources as well. So a minor victory in this jungle.
Yeah, and the gold is actually dead even at this point in time, but as Zed is going to come and pick his own blue buff, that's going to help with some cooldown reduction as well as proccing the more damage on the ultimate of Deathmark, which will definitely allow him to deal additional damage in the mid lane.
Right, the lucky critical strike just landed onto Mistake there, so taking him down to about 2/3 of his HP. He has to back off, just refresh his wards and get some new items to face up against this Choi and Kyling in the bottom lane. And it does look like this is a window of opportunity for them in this bottom lane, should they choose to go for God JJ, but they have to be careful about going in about this.
Yeah, the bottom lane of SGS is definitely a kill lane because you can see Chowie has picked up that BF sword and no boots as of yet, so they really want to go in with the stun, use the buckshot and take out as much health as possible because Chowie is definitely on the edge of stacking as much AD as possible.
Right, and now we do see Ben W and Zonda going in again with this never-ending skirmish, but interesting choice coming in from Zonda here. He has opted to go for that early Spectral Skull to make sure that his trade goes better in lane, and not prioritizing to go for that Sunfire trade, which most Renekton would go for. So he really wants to focus down Ben W in this matchup.
Yeah, and look what Oriel has picked up this early into the game. A 10-minute Oracle. This is going to show how much map control the Azubu Taipei snipers wants to actually pick up.
Right, it kind of also shows how much research that they have done, because traditionally for Singapore Sentinels, their playstyle has kind of changed to, in a sense, they want Kyling to go in and hide at those sneaky corners, but for that to happen, they have to have somewhat of a good vision control. So if you are able to take that away from the Singapore Sentinels, then definitely you will have the advantage for yourself.
Yeah, and this time without the Teemo mushrooms, the Oracles may not be able to just take out as much things as they can.
Yeah, but they wanna just take away all these wards, and now we do have Hallelujah camping down at this bottom lane, but at the same time, they do get spotted out in that wall, and now Kyling jumping into the fray with the Tibbers, and Hallelujah now jumping onto God JJ. Choi now gets taken down by mistake in that exchange. Hallelujah in a bit of trouble. Duck Binding lands on him, and at the same time, Tibbers just zoning away, and now Oriel secures the kill on Hallelujah.
Yeah, will he be able to land that cocoon onto Kyling? No, he just barely misses the juke coming in, the flash as well as the venomous bite coming in, securing the double kill for Oriel. Will he survive the turret shot? Yes, he does.
Yep, so a good estimation and calculation of the amount of aggression that he can take. And right now, snipers look like they are reading SGS's game here and playing them at every turn of this match so far.
Yeah, that 3 kills in the bottom lane has managed to snowball their lead into a 1,800 goal lead, and this dragon pickup may allow the Azubu Taipei snipers to just increase the lead even further.
Right, and it does look like it's going to be uncontested from Singapore Sentinels, and Mistake will secure that one last hit onto the dragon, and they will go back to spend some gold, get some cash going, and buy some items and come back to this bottom lane. And something I want to point out is that Mistake and Choi, these two guys go way back into the All-Stars at Shanghai. So they kind of have a grasp of how each other play in lane, because they have been partners in the All-Star tournament where they, just go in and fight as partners. But this time around, they are rivals in this match. And this is, this has got to have some contribute to some of the understanding for both teams.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, knowing the play style of your opponent is definitely going to work in your favor, especially if you can exploit it. And look at the aggression coming from Oriel. Will he be able to hit the cocoon? That stun coming in from Kailing prevents any further aggression on the side of the Azubu Taipei sniper. So they really know which lane to focus. I mean, everyone knows that if you want to play against the Singapore Sentinels, take out Chowie.
Right, he kind of really sometimes make full use of his carry potential, and now Hallelujah wanting to go in on the stick there, but Oriel is just around the corner. So once again, Snipers wanting to go in on the blue buff to take away every single objective. Will we see a skirmish break out here? And Snipers now looking really strong in this one. And there's a ward for both teams onto this one, so it does look like Snipers will be able to take this
And
out.
the great smite coming from Hallelujah, actually managing to pick up the blue buff for himself.
Right, so it does look like this time I am the one eating my words. I thought Snipers had the positional advantage in that one to take it out, but I think Hallelujah just had the quicker finger in there.
Yeah, and then smite battle.
Smite battle, man. And Zonda now up into Singapore Sentinels red buff. So
This is like deja vu all over again.
Yeah, right.
Go to the blue buff, rotate to the red buff, and then, well, in the previous time, Azubu Taipei Snipers picked up the blue buff, SGS Sentinels picked up their own red buff, but this time, it's the opposite.
that's right. So overall, some good counter jungling for the side of Snipers, and they're coming up on top of that one at the same time, taking down the bottom turret as well, as we were speaking. And because of that, their goal advantage have kind of snowballed up to a good 3.5k advantage, and they will look to push that further.
Yeah, taking down the bot lane turret, outer turret is definitely going to help as well. And another player that people actually target on the side when playing against Singapore Sentinels is actually Hallelujah, because Hallelujah has been one of the oldest, well, okay, he's the youngest, okay, is he the youngest player right now? I think he still is,
Yeah.
but he's been on the roster for one of the longest players that has been
I think
in
you
the
were
roster.
looking for the right way to describe it. I'm not too sure it's the oldest or youngest.
Yeah,
or...
exactly, but what I'm trying to say that he's been an integral part of the Singapore Sentinels roster, and he has been a key part in assisting with the games, and the Deathmark actually comes in.
And we do see next ABC going all in on Cryonics on that one, but it does look like it was just an aggressive act to deter him away from the lane. It does look like they will have, Hallelujah will be forced to somewhat stick around to the mid lane. So this might open up some more opportunities for Oriel to roam around, as what we are seeing in terms of his movement. And having that early Oracle just, makes his movement undetected.
Yeah, and it seems that they really want to pressure this bot lane, and it seems that, Chowie is definitely the target for the Azubu Taipei Snipers this game.
The Snipers really want to secure all the little advantages that they can in the bottom lane. It does look like it is paying off, as we see God JJ having a good 20 CS advantage over Chowie and punishing him for it. And overall, all across the board, we do see a good CS lead, as we see Hallelujah slightly, missing the position of that vault breaker there. Zonda gets out safely.
Yeah, and like I said, focusing their attention not only onto Chowie but as well as Hallelujah, that kind of just throws his game off and prevents him from making any good gank. And relieving the pressure from the lanes itself by counter jungling in the jungle will just allow your laners to just, kind of just take the lane to their advantage.
And now once again we do see Hallelujah and Ben W coming up. Will they choose to go for the fight, or will they decide to back off? Actually, they choose to go for it, and Zonda now getting locked down with the combined efforts of the Assault M Factory and the Slingshot. And it does look like Zonda will go down in this exchange. Or is he gonna go? No! The Unleash the Power just bringing him barely to one slither of his health. And now next ABC wanting to go in on Ben W, but does look like he will escape with his life as well. So, wow, what an escape.
Yeah, very close calls coming into this top lane fight, but it seems that the Azubu Taipei Snipers has the advantage coming in for the push. And look at the bot lane turret. Only Chowie is the only one there to defend, and God JJ as well as Mistake taking a few turret shots to allow God JJ to pick up the turret, and they do pick up the bot lane turret, and in turn it seems that they may not stop on this pressure in the top lane as well.
Right, so this is Snipers playing purely on that early game advantage, and because of that, they are able to pick out this bottom turrets ever so quickly.
Yeah, and not only that, look at the rotation coming from God JJ as well as Mistake. Here we have the top lane outer turret going down, and in a few seconds we will probably see the mid lane outer turret going down as well. So 4 turrets to nothing in favor of the Azubu Taipei snipers.
Yeah, all this just happened in the blink of an eye as well. They knew that that was the right choice to go for, and it was a good call after they saw that the entire squad of the Singapore Sentinels went back with that engage down onto Zonda up at the top lane. So they punished them for that rotation, take out 3 turrets at one go, and because of that, they are kind of ballooning up their goal advantage.
Yeah, and I don't think they're just going to stop there. Look at the pressure they're actually putting out the mid lane. They're trying to catch Hallelujah out. The repel comes in using the Venomous Bite and just deterring Hallelujah away, because I think their next objective that they're going to focus on with the 5-man team there is the blue buff and then the dragon.
Right, and once again, you know, just taking that away from Cryonics is ever so key to, you know, kind of control his progression. Because Syndra, no matter how strong she is quite reliant on mana and her cooldowns especially, if you want to control her. And once again, Snipers taking out another objective. This time it's the Dragon, so once again, bringing their goal lead up to 7k.
Yeah, it seems that they were still hungry for blood because they definitely wanted to take out Chowie right there. And Chowie actually getting hit by the Dark Binding.
And that was a speedy meltdown from the combined efforts of the 3-men. And, you know, Mistake picked up the kill. So, you know, nevertheless, a kill is a kill, and it's important for the Snipers to stay ahead.
Yeah, and the Snipers have been, you know, they haven't really won their lanes outright, but the fact is that great ganks coming from Oreo allows them to put in very good rotations, and thus they managed to take up so many of these global advantages. Look at the gold lead right now. It is 8,000 gold in the favor of the Azubu Taipei snipers. 20 minutes into the game, what can SGS do at this point of time?
Well, they do have to kind of recognize that these snipers are, you know, constantly rotating by a few members. They are not gathering up as a full team, but a few members at the same time. So if they kind of just go in together as a 5-man team, they can, you know, just rampage down any of those rotations, take out a few members, and then go for one key objective. They have to kind of go time and time again. And at this point of time, Hallelujah has made a wise choice, picked up his own oracles, and, you know, kind of deny vision away from their own jungle for TPS, because, you know, you don't want to give away too much of where you are at this point of time.
Yeah, but the fact is, with Hallelujah picking up that oracles, it prevents him from becoming even more tanky, being the front line of SGS. So he's going to be a very weak tank at this point of time in the game. Whereas Elise, being played by Oreo, on the other hand, doesn't have to share that oracles burden, because Mistake was the one to pick up the second oracles for the Taipei snipers, and this allowed him to pick up the haunting guys, as well as the amplifying tombs, further, you know, scaling his ability power ratios even further.
Right, and we do see O'Real and Zonda and next ABC as well as Mistake once again just grouping up together, not as a full team, but with a good substantial amount of members. And now it does seem like they want to put as much damage up into the top lane, and now O'Real just repelling out of the way out of that one. And it does look like they will move out into safety.
Yeah, the rotations by the Azubu Taipei snipers have been pinpoint. They move from one objective to another objective flawlessly and seamlessly, because they seem to be able to just catch the Singapore Sentinels off guard completely. And this really shows, because the lane dominance that, the objective dominance that the Azubu Taipei snipers have clearly shows in the 5 tower lead, the 4 kill lead, as well as I think they have already picked up 2 dragons in favor of themselves.
Right, so it does look like Singapore Sentinels have to make something happen quickly if they want to pull themselves back.
Yeah, and look what next ABC is doing. He's actually pushing up that top wave and trying to just take a few hits onto the turret, and the Singapore Sentinels have no idea what to do. Do they defend at this turret, force a 4v5? I don't think they're confident as of yet, and it seems that they're willing to give up this mid inner turret.
That's right, and we do see next ABC actually going in onto Ben W there, but now next ABC getting locked up by Hallelujah. But at the same time, you know, having his Living Shadow just escaping and juking out of the way. Zonda now finishing the kill onto XW there. it does look like snipers will be contented with that. So taking 1 kill again and backing off from there.
Yeah, they were. SGS wanted to pick up kill on next ABC, but they were not able to output enough damage. Between Ben W as well as Kailing, they definitely, as the top laner and the support at this point of time, do not have that damage.
And it's just so sneaky to try to gank onto a Z, because you can have all this crowd control abilities to lock him down, but once you give him 1 split second of opportunity, he will just, you know, move out of the way with the Living Shadow. And that's what makes him such a formidable champion that most people want to play against.
Yeah, and you know, what can the Singapore Sentinels do? They need to hit their item thresholds. They need to get a good, clean engage. They need to prevent and lock up next ABC before he can actually pull off his Death Mark, which is something extremely hard to do because Death Mark is just used to dodge almost every kind of CC spell and just insta-gip the AD carry if Chow is anywhere near them.
Right, but it does look like at this point of time the snipers are not gonna be too, you know, they are just gonna continue dipping up in the mid lane to finish up the job that they have been doing earlier. So all this constant pressure, and once again picking out the blue buff. So
Cryonics has not received a single blue buff this game. This is definitely extremely detrimental to a Syndra player such as himself.
That's right, but he does have some good items completed. And interesting choice as well, he finished up the Morero Nomicon first. Probably recognizing the fact that he is not going to have too much blue buffs being collected on his end. So having that extra 20% cooldown might help him in that sense, but at this point of time, Singapore Sentinels is still looking for the direction on what to do with this match.
Yeah, they definitely want to gain the control back in the jungle and hopefully get a pick, because between Hallelujah, Kailing as well as Ben W, they definitely are able to actually lock someone down with the help of Cryonics, of course, and you know, hopefully burst someone in the jungle, catching out a bad rotation on the side of the Azubu Taipei snipers. But at this point in time, the Azubu Taipei snipers have not made a single bad rotation. At least I don't feel that they have, because they have been just picking up turret after turret and not letting SGS gain any leads.
Right, and they're playing to the strengths as well of their composition, because they have this this assassin that being picked up for their team, and he's been constantly split pushing, creating side lane pressure and letting the entire squad of the snipers pick up another objective like what we are seeing now.
Yeah, the third dragon of the game being picked up by on the side of the Azubu Taipei snipers. This increases their goal lead to 12,000 gold at the 25-minute mark. It's kind of spelling, you know, being a dismal situation for the side of Singapore Sentinels.
Right, and this is kind of what defines the snipers playstyle as well. You know, they don't actively go for 5v5 team fights. Instead, they go for this skirmishes, and then they have somewhat of a split pusher just creating side lane pressure. And once a team gets distracted, and the entire rest of your squad will follow up for the snipers to take another objective.
Yeah, the vision control coming in from SGS, they are trying so desperately to take back their jungle, but the oracles being picked up by mistake prevents them from doing anything itself. And a great missile coming in from Koki to actually check that brush there to seek out, to actually spot out any sort of weird gangs SGS is trying to pull.
That's right, and we once again, what we are seeing this constant. Actually, we do see Ben W jumping into the fray right now. This is the fight that Singapore Sentinels wants to pull off, but Hallelujah already taken down to such a low health, and a great ultimate from Mistake, catching everyone from Singapore Sentinels. And now Oriel, even though being slowed, at the same time just jumping back onto Ben W over here. Is he going to be able to land the final hits? No, as looks like Ben W will be able to survive with 1 little HP. Or is he? Oriel jumping back with the flash, and it's a clean ace for the snipers here on this fight.
Yeah, it seems that from this fight, they will be able to pick up the middle inhibitor turret, take out the middle inhibitor, and it seems that the death timers are still on a relatively short time right now, and it seems that they are most likely going to back off from this.
Right, so it's a really good fight for them.
Or not, they're actually picking out the bot inhibitor turret as well. Will they be able to pick it up before SGS actually responds? It seems that they will be able to do it, and I expect them to back off right after this.
They don't want to stick around too much to kind of throw the advantage away.
Yeah, they're definitely not going to make such a mistake, especially this when they're so
make such a mistake.
Yeah,
Mistake.
Mistake never makes any mistakes.
Yeah.
He's been landing very spectacular dark bindings and going into the entire team, pulling off his ultimate what's it called? The what's it called? Soul shackles.
You're welcome.
Oh yeah, you didn't say it. You merely hover over it, please. And whoa, this is a very daring move on the side of Singapore Sentinels. We have next ABC actually pushing down the inhibitor turret as they plan to go for the Baron. They aren't doing the Baron very quickly though.
Right, so this is kind of a desperation technique from Singapore Sentinels, but in turn they give up the inhibitor for that. Is Sonda gonna be able to do enough damage now? Actually, we see Kyling dropping down real low. And whoa, we have picked up the Baron, but is that gonna be what they want? Actually, Snipers now finishing what the Baron has done for them, and in turn they pick up 3 kills for themselves. So this desperation move coming in from Singapore Sentinels not gonna be the saving grace for them.
Yeah, with the death timers at like 30-40 seconds, it seems that the Snipers can just merely go in. Next ABC already chomping down the final Nexus turret, and it seems that the Azubu Taipei Snipers is definitely going to take the win. The death mark coming in, and Chawi just kind of dashes away from that. So the winner of this match goes to the blue team, the Azubu Taipei Snipers.
It does look like they sniped off the Singapore Sentinels right here tonight, and what a dominating performance it came from them as well. I want to commend them on the amount of decision making process that they have. It's just so crisp. Every time they go for this different rotations, just moving around the map, manipulating and maneuvering around the map in the sense that they can always kind of get one objective after that. So they have a very good game plan to this. Let next ABC split push and then get an objective after that. And the best thing about them is that in this match is that they just played to the strengths, they just stretched the limitations of all the different champions in this match.
Yeah, Oriel played an amazing game on Elise. He actually, yes, he died, first blood, but he came back very, confidently. He went in to steal the blue buff, force some pressure in the lanes, try to get the red buff, and from then on, he just dominated in the jungle.
That's right. So this was one of the eye-opening matches when you have one of the newest team coming into GPL. You might have seen them before. Taipei Snipers definitely not a stranger to the competitive scene. But what do you do when you actually face up against them? That is the biggest question. And it does look like Singapore Sentinels will kind of draw back in on this one and let.
Yeah, they definitely have to go back to the drawing board, and let's hope they actually come up with a new strategy, maybe kind of hone their teamwork and decide to challenge the big teams once again.